2024, a jury in Bridgeport convicted 2 defendants, Gabriel Pulliam, age 30, and Julian Scott, age 25, of multiple racketeering-related offenses, including conspiracy to engage in a pattern of racketeering activity, murder in violation of the Violent Crimes in Aid of Racketeering statute, causing death through the use of a firearm and in relation to a crime of violence, attempted murder and assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering, and carrying and using a firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence. Pulliam was also found guilty of conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute and conspiracy to distribute controlled substances. Earlier this year, on February 14, 2024, after a 6-week trial, a federal jury in Bridgeport found 4 defendants: Zaquan McDaniel, 25, Tajay Love, 25, Malik Bayonne, 27, and James Graham, 24, guilty of offenses related to their participation in the same Waterbury street gang, known as 960. These convictions stemmed from the defendants' involvement in multiple acts of violence against rival gang members and innocent bystanders alike. Specifically, the trial evidence established that these individuals participated in no fewer than 10 acts of violence between 2017 and 2019. They include the Walcott Street double homicide, in which McDaniel, Love, and Bayonne killed 2 rival gang members, Clarence Lewis and Antonio Santos, on November 22nd, 2017, as well as an October 11, 2018 homicide, in which Pulliam and Scott shot at a group of people and killed Francois Guzman, a mother of 4, and paralyzed another woman. These same gang members were responsible for shooting at least 6 other individuals during this time period, including shootings that happened during the day less than a block away from a school. Then they posted on social media about their exploits. Pulliam, Scott, McDaniel, Love, and Bayonne all face mandatory life sentences without the possibility of parole. Graham, who is already incarcerated for a homicide, faces an additional sentence of up to 10 years for an obstruction of justice charge. Beyond these 6 defendants who went to trial, 8 additional defendants pled guilty to racketeering-related offenses, including shootings and gang-related violence. Some of them face sentences up to 35 years or even life imprisonment. In all, 14 members of the 960 street gang have been convicted since the grand jury returned an indictment in this matter on September 14, 2021. I have said this before and I will say it again. Every Connecticut resident, regardless of race, ethnicity, or social economic status, deserves to live in a safe community. No person or group of people is entitled to wreak havoc by engaging in repeated acts of violence, instilling fear and trauma in children and families who reside in our communities. This type of gang-related activity is a federal crime that we will investigate and prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. These coordinated crimes and the destruction they cause will not be tolerated by law enforcement, and we will bring all of our resources to bear to combat them. We are delighted to learn that following the investigation of this gang-related violence and the resulting prosecutions, there has been a significant decrease in assault and first-degree offenses and shots fired in Waterbury from the calendar year 2023 2022 to 2023. This kind of significant impact and violence does not happen without the strong local and federal partnerships that developed in this case. At both of the aforementioned trials, assistant state's attorneys tried the case in federal court alongside assistant United States attorneys, and a state inspector worked hand in hand with the FBI case agent. I would like to underscore, as I have before, that such partnerships lead to significant and impactful prosecutions. And we look forward to continuing to work with the state's attorney's office and the Waterbury Police Department in the future. On behalf of the United States Attorney's Office, I would like to give special thanks to Waterbury State's Attorney Maureen Platt, to Chief Spagnuolo, to the FBI, the ATF, United States Marshal Service, Connecticut Forensic Science Laboratory, the DEA Laboratory, and all those police departments that have assigned personnel to multiple federal task forces for the invaluable partnership, which we trust will be long-lasting, that has made possible these convictions, removed numerous violent individuals from the community in Waterbury, and helped make Waterbury safer. Thank you.
Good morning. This case serves as an illustration of what can happen when federal and state law enforcement agencies cooperate together, share resources, and work together on important cases. I would be remiss if I did not extend my profound thanks to U.S. Attorney Vanessa Avery, members of the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, for their tremendous commitment to the safety of Waterbury and its citizens. They invested a tremendous amount of time and resources in this incredibly complicated case. And there's no doubt about it, this case was one of the most complicated that our city has seen. It is the result of years and years of difficult and meticulous work. Certainly, we were aided by the federal authorities who took the lead in this investigation and prosecution. I am also extremely proud as State's Attorney for the Judicial District of Waterbury for the work of our staff in this investigation. Particularly, our effort was led by Supervisory Assistant State's Attorney Don Thurkelson. He was assisted by Deputy Assistant State's Attorney Alex Arroyo, and of course, Inspector Mike Slavin, who not only worked for this case for years, but also did it as both a member of the Waterbury Police Department and now an inspector in my office. I commend them for their hard work, and this was a case that, again, had been in, I was just speaking to someone before, and they had said that the press conference just for the indictment occurred in September of 2021, and there were years of work which predated that. I also wish to commend the Waterbury Police Department led by Chief Fred Spagnuolo. The work in this case they did serves as a model to other law enforcement agencies as to how an investigation should be done and completed. Every I was dotted, every T was crossed, and I cannot express my admiration enough to them for the spectacular job they did on this case. With all that being said, we did this for one reason, and the one reason that we did, and that we were joined by the federal authorities in this case and the FBI, is because we wanted to stem the violence that was happening in our community. And there is no doubt that because of their hard work, lives have been saved. These 14 individuals who either pled or were convicted are now off our streets. Clearly, that would not have been the case without this joint effort, and I am so incredibly proud of how the case has proceeded, and I'm so profoundly grateful to the U.S. Attorney's Office for their assistance in this matter. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Altamari, Josephaltimari. I'm currently the acting Assistant Special Agent in charge for the FBI in New Haven. I oversee all criminal matters here in the state of Connecticut. I just want to touch on a few words that I think really this case really highlights. Number one, the tremendous relationship that we have with our local, state, and federal partners. Connecticut is one of those states that's unique in the sense that all our federal partners and all our state partners can come together and work together to do these type of cases. This case, as it's been said, from the start has been nothing but a lot of work. All these cases that we do on a regular basis when it comes to gang violence, RICO, as well as FICAR investigations really stem from our partnerships from the local level all the way up, to our partnerships with the U.S. Attorney's Office. One of the things that I think gets lost in this whole thing is people don't understand that the feds really work hand in hand with our local and state partners on a daily basis. All right, we train together, we work together, we develop the cases from the start to make sure that it's as successful as this was. Given all the stuff that has happened in the city of Waterbury over the last couple years, the FBI has surged resources to continue on with stopping some of the violence here. Since this, that's being done through our Safe Streets task forces, and I can say on behalf of the SAC that we are happy to work with you, Chief, and continue to partner and do these cases going forward. One of the things that I want to make sure we do recognize, because sometimes they get overlooked, is the case team. And the case team really did a tremendous job here. And when I say case team, I mean investigators, the prosecutors, the analysts, the forensic examiners who look through countless amounts of evidence to put stuff together at trial. All that stuff, all the things that they did and their dedication towards getting justice for the families and victims really paid off in this case. And I think a shout out should go to them. Countless hours, years really going through this investigation. So with that, I want to say thank you to everybody. Chief, on to you.
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Spagnolo, Police Chief in Waterbury, Connecticut. This serves as a foundation for the citizens that live in Waterbury and people that thrive and do business in Waterbury to feel safer. As the United States Attorney had mentioned, year over year, including this year, we have seen a significant reduction in violent crime here in the city. That includes shootings and all other crimes that are characterized as violent crime. I'm really happy to hear the relationships will continue. Here in Waterbury, we don't believe in breakups, so we're not going to let you go anyway. But it really, it's been said over and over, but without the collaboration between our police department, the FBI, a number of other federal law enforcement partners, our Waterbury State's Attorney's Office and the United States Attorney's Office, this case doesn't get off the ground. There's dozens and dozens of people that have been involved in this case. Frankly, I met one today. There's a paralegal involved that I had never met until today, so thank you for your work. I'd like to pay a special thank you to the men and women of the Waterbury Police Department that dedicated countless hours over the last 6 years in investigating the 960 gang and bringing justice and some closure to the family of victims that this violence was perpetrated against. I appreciate you all coming today, and that concludes it for me. Thank you.
We're happy to take a few questions at this time, if anyone has any.
Is it a new tactic for the U.S. Attorney's Office to do RICO cases against street gangs? I know it's been done a few times before. I think there's a new one. Is this a new tactic for your office?
It is definitely a focus for our office for the past 2 years. It's something that we've used prior to that, but it's a special focus in the last 2 years to focus on the hotspots in Connecticut with violent crime. So we're focusing on the 4 major cities, New Haven, Hartford, Bridgeport, and Waterbury. using this same tactic. And so I believe you're referencing some of the other outcomes we've had in the other cities.
How many members did you say were taken off the street?
14 members of the 960 Street gang have been taken off the street. There were 16 indicted, so there are still 2 remaining.
I also just want to ask about an announcement that the FBI released a couple days ago regarding LGBTQ events.
Okay.
Consistent related to that.
Joe, do you want to take that? Okay.
I was just wondering if you could explain a little bit more about this announcement, what signs feel about for, and what people should do.
Charlie, do you have anything? So you're referring to a national release? So typically we wouldn't speak directly to that national release without having a little background on it in advance. So because.
Any other questions?
One of the interesting things about this case was the use of the rap videos by Saquon McDaniels. Is this the first time prosecutors used rap videos of members of, I guess, any criminal case in their trial?
That's a great question. It was not the first time. And John, would you like to address the rap videos? It's something that is coming up increasingly in some of our cases.
So it is John Pierpont. It is not the first time. There was a racketeering trial based on a Bridgeport Street gang where rap videos were used as well. It is the subject of a lot of litigation and something that, you know, we look at very closely in every one of our cases in terms of how and to what extent we'd be able to use them.
Who was the head of the 960? Was it McDaniel or was it Pulliam?
So the trial evidence established, and especially in this last trial, that Pulliam was the leader of 960 and Mr. McDaniel was one of their rappers, one of their main rappers.
Does this include this case, or are you still looking to continue to prosecute other members of the gang?
So as I mentioned, there were originally 16 individuals indicted. This includes the case as with regard to the 14, and there are 2 that are still remaining to be addressed. Any other questions?
More for the chief, I guess. I wasn't sure like what the status is of 960 gang today.
The chief had to step out.
I wasn't sure if they're still around. I know there's been
Okay. Thank you all for your time.
Yeah.